Hey, I'm Weekend Gabe, and you're checking out Weekend at Gabe's, and thanks for checking out this latest episode. While you're here, also follow us on these social medias at Weekend Gabe, at Weekend at Gabe's, and also at The Real Sam Crane. Thanks for checking us out. All right, joining us now are the creators, the producers, and the stars of the hit web series Border'd. Joining us now, the Nuño Brothers and Lauryn Lugo. I should be more appropriate. Adrian Nuño, and then also Andrew Nuño. So we
Thank you, Gabe.
They're not
Thank
like a
you,
rapper,
Gabe.
right? So yeah. All right, let's pull them in here on Weekend at Gabe on this Tuesday night. Good evening, everyone.
I gotta air horn everybody in. You know what I'm saying? It's three people. We're gonna need a lot of air horns for this segment.
It's like boxes we've ever filled up on this show. So
I think this is actually two segments on the show tonight that are first for us. This will be the most people we've ever had on the show, most boxes in the thing. And after you guys, it'll be our youngest guest ever. So thank you for being part of Weekend of Gabe's history, guys. And thank you for creating this fantastic show.
I was like, they might be the youngest. I don't know if I'm the youngest. They might be not me. I think I might be left out of that bracket.
We have a 14-year-old skateboarder joining us after you guys, so he's
okay. Awesome. I thought you were talking about us. I was like, no.
We might have run like 14, thing, but yeah.
No, I think you guys are right in the demographic that we're shooting for. So, but thank you so much for giving us your time. They sent over the first season. Sam and I both had a chance to watch it. It's absolutely phenomenal. Super well produced, directed, acted. I really enjoyed it. We got tons of questions. But my first question is that you guys first worked on the film Little Things several years ago. So this is your second go round working together. So I'll throw this to Lauryn first, and the Nuño Brothers could jump in. I'm just gonna say Nuño Brothers because it just seems a little bit easier.
Good. They're used to it. They're used to it.
You guys, production company and all that stuff. So for branding purposes, maybe it's for the best. I don't know, but Lauryn, let's jump it up to you. What is it about working with them and keeping this group together to move forward, making new projects? Well, what is it about that experience of working together?
It's a great question. I think that my biggest joy of working with the twins is that we all have different strengths. I grew up acting and writing was always like my big thing. And they grew up directing, and so it was just like, okay, like let's join forces. Like we have so much knowledge in these kind of separate areas. Like let's bring it all together and see what we can create. And the other reason is that they're just so driven. Like I'm the lazy one. I'm the one that's like, oh man, we got to call this person. We got to get these people out to cast how many roles, and they're the ones that are like, let's go. So I think that's the other thing too, is they're motivational. It's easier to work with people who are pushing you forward sometimes when you're like, man, I don't know how much more of this I can take. And anybody in the arts and performing and anything like that, you know the struggle. Sometimes you just kind of want to quit. So you need people around you who are like, let's keep going. Let's do one more project. Let's do one more thing. And so yeah, that's why I think it's worked for as long as it has.
Andrew, what about working with Lauryn? What did you guys see in her when you guys were looking for a collaborator for Little Things that drew you in?
Yeah. I think, what I've enjoyed most working with Lauryn is just not only how creative she is, but how inviting she is. I've said this since the first time I met Lauryn, and I will continue to say this. Like, Lauryn is hands down one of the most, if not the most talented person that I know. Like, she is just able to, the way that she's able to write scenes, the way that she's able to act is just so incredible. But she doesn't let that talent get to her. She's very humble, and whether we're working with new actors or people who are new to sets, she's always such a warm and inviting presence to everybody. And I think just incredibly collaborative as well. And so, whether we did the short film Little Things or taking on a full season of a show like this, it's just been so awesome to have someone who is, ready to do what is needed to be done, but also someone who just has such talent and is ready to take on anything that comes their way. So that's something that I've really enjoyed, working with Lauryn. And then Adrian, I mean, I was born with the guy, so like that collaboration goes all the way back to the womb. But we've been making stuff since we were 13, and fortunately, the passion just never really died. It's just kind of kept on going the past 12 years.
That's
Ditto.
Love it, Adrian.
Yeah.
What about this? When I was thinking about Latin, Hispanic or Latinx Hispanic shows, and Sam and I were talking about this, and I think I read this, that there's a lot of shows that have Latin or feature Latin actors and producers, but it's never like a full cast. And you guys open that door with Border'd. Talk about like the importance of making sure that the cast was Latin or Hispanic, and why you guys are filling a void that commercial TV isn't right now.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I definitely. Go ahead, Adrian. Go ahead.
Oh no, I was just going to say that while it was important for us to also make sure that this was a Latinx cast, we also wanted to articulate that folks of Latinx descent and of the community come in all shapes and sizes, whether it's folks who know the language and culture very well to those who maybe don't know it very well. We come from all different backgrounds and stories. Sure. And so that was also very important to us that with this story and with the characters in particular, that we articulated that in the show.
Yeah. Go ahead. I know. Do you have an additional thought on it?
Other than Lauren, I'll hand it over to you.
I was actually going to say like almost literally the exact same thing. Like it was really important to us.
Synergy.
To cast a group of Latinx people that have totally different relationships with being Hispanic. It was very different for all three of us. It was different for literally everybody that we cast in our family. And so, that representation of there is no right way to be a person of color was really big to us. That was like big theme of our season, big reason why we cast the way we cast. It's a great answer, Adrian.
So the story picks up where you guys are siblings, which is interesting because Andrew and Adrian, you guys play siblings and also twins on the show. So I'm sure I'll ask a follow-up in a moment about what the similarities are between what's on screen and what's in real life. But what I thought when I was watching this last night, I was thinking about like usually, when commercial projections of Latin culture, we get Coco, we get these animations, and people think they're cute and they're adorable, and it seems like it's like a fluff way of telling the story. But you guys directly have that family unit in place where there's a lot of complexities, a lot of layers to relationships that each episode is sort of trying to peel back about themselves. Talk about like when you guys were writing and planning Border'd, like how much did your own personal experiences growing up sort of play into the development of the idea that we have? I'll start with Adrian. Go ahead.
Yeah. Yeah, go for it, Adrian.
Oh, okay. I guess I'll go first. I would say pretty much, I mean, there's at least a part of every episode that is directly tied from my own experience, especially episode 4, where the three siblings go to their downtown area of their suburban hometown. So many of those experiences are directly ripped from our own experiences, whether it's interactions with people at local businesses, you name it. And even like some of the fights that the twins have in the episode, I mean, those are ripped sometimes directly from Andrew and I, our own experiences growing up. And so it wasn't too much of a stretch to be like, in this scene, you two are going to fight and go. Okay, I can do it. But yeah, like we definitely have some tie, at least for me, in every single episode of this show.
Yeah, and just to kind of piggyback off that, I remember like when we were shooting a scene in the 4th episode, people were like, "Oh my god, it's so realistic." I'm like, "Yeah, we've actually thought about this before. Like, it was to have that experience and just throwing it up on screen." So I was like, we had 20-something years to build on this chemistry, and we are just gonna like throw it out on screen. But yeah, I think so much of this, like the whole central idea of this show came from Lauren, Adrian, and I just saying, like, like we see all these shows on TV of people who already speak Spanish well, who are surrounded by other Latinx people. That wasn't the experience that we had. We grew up in a town that was very white, very conservative, and just not at all the experience that we had at home. So we would, grow up in our Hispanic families and then go to school and go be out in the community. And it was just so different from what our home life was like. So we really wanted to make a show that was representative of, like, we didn't grow up surrounded by Spanish speaking individuals. We didn't grow up surrounded by people who looked like us. We had to be kind of the spokespeople for our ethnicity in a lot of situations growing up. And so we really wanted to make something that was really representative to that experience growing up. And it's actually kind of funny because originally Adrian and I were not going to play Gabe and Raphael in the show, but Lauren was very persistent that only Adrian and I could play these roles. And for months she was trying to convince us, and eventually she wore us down, and then we decided to play the roles. But I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that it was so much of our life experience that we were pouring into the script.
Right.
And us would be the most authentic people to play these roles in these situations up on screen.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, a lot of
Go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead.
Lauren.
I was just gonna say,
my question was for you anyway, so you can finish your point. Yeah, for sure.
a lot of the microaggressions and stuff that you see in the show, like with the people around them, the people in their community, that was definitely from, I waited tables for a long time, and the amount of times you get, oh my gosh, your skin is so pretty, where are you from, or where are your parents from? So a lot of that the season is like the boy said, is just ripped directly from our lives. And so yeah.
I love, I mean, we've talked about it a lot already, but the 3 dimensions is what came to my mind when I was watching the show, that none of these characters fell flat. All of them were, real people in very different situations. And then the concept of sort of this cathartic funeral where, like, people come together who don't necessarily love each other to, like, achieve this common goal was something that I resonated with me fully. But I wanted to ask Lauren, when you're writing this series and then acting in it as well, there are so many layers that you're adding. What was that experience like, and being able to write your dialogue and then deliver it in a way that was poignant and emotional and all of those things?
Yeah, it's a great question. Oh, these are all great questions. As a writer, I've always written my dialogue with the added flubs of how people talk. And like, I've always added the ums and the ahs and like all of that stuff like in the actual dialogue, because I want people to think about that as they're creating the character. And with any script, I'm always kind of like, change this. Like, you have the writer on set, like, this is like this living, the script is like this living, breathing thing, right? So it's actually really fun to be able to say, like, okay, I have this script, I have the lines memorized, but I can like play with it. Like, I can decide like where to ramp it up, or maybe where to change this word, or where to put flubs in, where to put my hesitations in, like all of that stuff. And so I write it that way so that when the actors are looking at the script, they can see, okay, so my character's hesitant here, or my character's shy here, anything like that. But you can still, even with that written in, you can still kind of decide how that's going to go and where those moments are going to hit. And that's why I really like writing and then being on set, because I just like being able to be there to be like, hey, that didn't come out exactly like I thought it would. Like, it was different on page than it is coming out now. So let's change it. Like, let's play with it. Let's do something else. Let's try something else. And I feel like that's an opportunity that like a lot of writers probably don't get. So I love it personally. So yeah, I really enjoy that aspect of it.
Word. And then moving to Andrew and Adrian, because this was we talked a little bit about how she sort of convinced you guys to hop in the acting from yourself. But one thing that me and Gabe talked about sort of in our pre-production meeting was how beautiful every shot looked. And that was absolutely, you guys' work with, lighting and set design and that sort of stuff. It's got to be immensely difficult to sort of turn that production side of your brain off and then get into an acting mindset? Not that writing isn't also difficult, but it's sort of the same lane and you can change a little bit. But you guys almost have to go a different direction down the highway, as it were. So what was that experience like for you?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I got to hand it to our incredible camera folks, Dan Gebert and Gary Walker. Gary, who did the pilot episode, and then Dan Gebert, who is our DP for the rest of season 1, because we were all three in front of the camera most of the time, they almost acted in a way as almost like our co-directors for so many of these episodes, where we would go behind the camera, review a shot, tell them, okay, this is what we're playing for the next shot. And then we would literally like go in front of the camera and be like, okay, you call action, and then just get back into the mindset of our characters. And it was definitely a challenge. I mean, I personally have never done anything like that before. It was so outside of my comfort zone. But I really enjoyed it. It was such a great challenge for us. It's because of them that we were able to manage both the production idea on set, as well as being in character and being mindful of how we're going to perform each and every scene. So shout out to them for
Yeah, and just to kind of piggyback on that, it was an absolute pleasure having them, having our UPM, Thomas Seffernick, on set, because they were so good at just wrangling everybody and getting everyone together, and we were able to just kind of act more in like kind of a supervisor capacity, and just like kind of okay the big choices and then kind of hop back into our roles. Because I mean, one example that comes to mind right away was when we were shooting the funeral episode. And originally we were supposed to shoot on location for 2 days, but we managed to fit everything into 1 day of shooting, except the monologues were last. And each one of us maybe only had room for maybe 2 or 3 takes of our one-shot monologue scenes. And it was just kind of like a go, go, go moment where we didn't have much time to think through much else than each one of our individual monologues. And it's because of our amazing camera team and our UPM and all the producers that we were able to like make sure that, nothing burned to the ground and we could still focus on our performances and give the performances the time that they needed as well. And actually, the very last take of Lauryn's monologue, which was the last shot that we did, the last bit of sunlight left as soon as we finished the take. So it was literally right on time that we finished everything that we needed for the day.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It definitely speaks to the level of collaboration between the team and like you said, being able to act in sort of more of a supervisor role as opposed to a drill sergeant. I think it shows in the final product.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Really, we have a few minutes left, but I wanted to talk about the relationship you guys have with OpenTV. I know that you guys met with them a couple of years ago. I think you guys were at some sort of event, and that's where the relationship stemmed from. But having that placement as part of their group of series that they're promoting and marketing, well, what is that like? What does that mean for the show itself? Going through this path, does it offer a broader exposure than just putting it on YouTube? Talk about some of the benefits and what that relationship means to you guys, but also for viewers to get more eyes on the show.
Yeah. I mean, so and it's funny because the way that we kind of began our relationship with OpenTV, so I believe around 2-ish years ago, or it might have been 3 years ago, like right before we even released the pilot episode, we reached out to them and just literally pitched them the show. And just from the pitch, like, okay, yeah, we'll distribute it. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. Like they were really on board from the get-go with the idea of what we were trying to do. And it's been so awesome seeing how supportive they've been, not only with distributing the series, but also, hosting events. As a matter of fact, when we screened our pilot, they helped us get exhibition at the Chicago Cultural Center,
Nice.
which was such a fun time. We did it with another OTV series called Low Strung. And I mean, over the past few years, they've just been so incredibly helpful, not only in the development of the series, but also just helping us develop as artists, really kind of allowing us to take part in opportunities that, otherwise would be pretty difficult for us to get. And especially with the release of season 1, it's been so awesome, having someone who's not only, willing to help us get on their platform, but also really kind of guiding us as far as, okay, well, here are all the options that you have in front of you. This is what we recommend, and really encouraging us to grow.
And the community, like it's nice to be introduced to like an artist community, because again, and like we don't always get that. Obviously, we have our other jobs, we have our other, like, we have lives, we have all this other stuff going on, and sometimes you forget, like, oh wait, there's a whole other world of creators out there that I don't always get to interact with. And so that's really nice too, like getting to look at other people's shows on the platform and getting to meet, you know, the creators of those shows and work with them, or, you know, talk about collaboration with them. Like, I think that's another really big thing too, is that opens up a whole bunch of communication with other people that you never have met that you might end up collaborating with down the road. So that's another great opportunity.
Oh, yeah.
Awesome. All right. Well, before we let you all go, Sam, do you have anything else?
Yeah, I got one last question. Can we get a season 2, guys? Can we get a season 2?
We're trying. We're trying.
We're trying for it.
Yes.
It's so funny you say that, because I was screenshotting. So once the season got released, people were watching it and texting me and saying, like, oh my God, I can't believe this just happened. Oh my God, I can't believe that happened at the reunion and this happened at the funeral. I can't believe you said that. And everyone was texting saying, what's going to happen in season 2? And I was like,
right,
well, we got to get a season 2. We got to so yeah, left a couple cliffhangers there for you, so we're gonna have to figure out a way to get season 2.
Yeah,
I'm here for it. I'm here for
Thank
it.
you.
Whenever you can get, I just need it not to take 3 years this time, maybe 1.5. Can we do that?
We'll try our best. We'll try our best.
We will try.
Well, if you guys are gonna fundraise, let us know. I didn't get a chance to chip in the first go around. I'll be happy to chip in to make sure.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We sincerely appreciate that.
All right, before we let you go, we'd like to try to ask silly questions. So I will, unless Sam has like a really funny one, I'm gonna end up asking for our ticket giveaway to Friday night's Mother Nature show.
Oh, okay.
Each of you ask, what are your steps to being the greatest self?
This isn't even fun as a question. This is just like assess your life on camera right now.
Lauren,
but
we'll
what if our answers be your guys's and we get the tickets over you? Because I know Sam was saying he wanted to shoot his shot to try to get those tickets.
She makes a lot of good points, Gabe. She makes a lot of good points.
All right. Well, Sam, do you have a more clever, funny question?
One great part about your routine. How about we do that? Something you really value, whether it's, you know, brushing your hair, you know, shaving. Some people really like to shave. What is the one thing about your routine, even if it's just like getting, you know, coffee at the local diner?
I'll start. For me, it's the shower.
Okay.
The shower, my favorite part. Mostly because that's honestly, I would say the shower is where I do a good 80% of my writing would be in the shower. Because I usually just like talk like scenes through, like dialogue between two characters when I'm in the shower. So if it wasn't for me having good hygiene, Border'd might not have ever happened.
Lord,
that is why we do this show. Answers like that is why we do this show.
Then please shower more so we can get a season 2.
I'll go up to three times a day. 3 times a day. 3 showers a day.
Bring it on.
Lord, I know the perfect Christmas gift for you. I'm gonna get you a can holder for the shower.
Yes.
We don't want you to get you dehydrated.
Where have you been my whole life?
This is
we got you.
Day.
We got you. All right, Adrian.
For my routine, I actually have this playlist of like funny fail compilations on YouTube that I watch every morning just to give myself a laugh when I wake up. Because especially in the midst of this past year, like I need a lot more humor in my life. So it's just a good way to get me in a positive mood to start the day.
Got to start the day with a laugh. I love that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. How about you, Andrew?
Oh man, mine's just pretty simple in comparison. It's just meditating, like that. Just like meditating for like even like 10 minutes every single morning. It's just like block everything out for like a little bit, and just kind of like center before you just jump into the craziness of the day. Like that's just kind of my go-to part.
Fantastic.
Lets you do that.
Really quick. I do the fail compilations thing too, but this is the Great One-Liners book. It's under my computer, and I get to it every day. Just one one-liner, and there's some good stuff in there. Sometimes they're my Instagram captions, so that's for me, guys.
Oh, I love it.
That's cool. I love that.
All right. Well, the new season of Borders is up on OpenTV. Thank you. People can just Google it and find it. It's a fantastic watch, and also it's not like 35 minutes or an hour. They're pretty like doable episodes that you can knock out in 15 minutes, which is also super convenient. But it's a fantastic watch. I appreciate you guys putting it together. We definitely need more of our stories being told by us and written by us. So I appreciate all the work that you guys put into this, just for me personally.
Oh,
Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, and thank you both for having us on.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
I really appreciate you guys.
Lauren, Andrew, Adrian, thank you guys so much for giving us your time here on Weekend at Gabe's.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for
Yes,
having
thank
us.
you.
Season 2 on the way.
All right, good night, everyone.
Have a good night, guys.
The
too.
cast
Take
and
care.
the creators of Border'd, the new series over on OpenTV. I never heard of OpenTV either. It's fantastic. I love it.
And the more I found out about it, doing research for this segment, people should get on that, man. People should get on that. Get your ideas. Southside stand up. There's a lot of stuff to be done out there if you know what you're doing. And the Nuño twins and Lauryn Lugo, they knew what they were doing. And season 2, that's all I want. That's all I want, Gabe.
Definitely. I would watch it. I'm intrigued, and they didn't wrap up a lot of things. So I like they left open the opportunity. So it'd be really sad that they didn't do it.
Here's what I know for sure: better ending than Squid Game.
For someone who hasn't seen Squid Game, but I'm almost certain our next guest has seen it. I'm almost 1,000% sure. Hey, I'm Weekend Gabe. Thanks for checking out this latest episode of Weekend at Gabe's. Click on any of the links swirling around my head, and also hit the subscribe button while you're here. Thanks for checking out us here on YouTube.